Baylor won over the weekend. You wouldn't know it if you saw clips of Baylor fans going around because they weren't really there to see it. Some of them, it appears, left early. Cam Stuart of Locked On Baylor is here. Cam, are we about to have a coaching vacancy in the Big 12? Because Baylor has to have the most apathetic fan base for a 4-2 football team in the country. You know how many programs Colorado would love to be 4-2 right now? Florida would love to be 4-2 right now. Baylor's 4-2 and everyone's like Bob Barker and Happy Gilmore. This guy stinks. What is happening in Waco?
Well, to add to that too, of like all those teams that would want to be 4-2, like you look at Baylor historically, like before the last 15 years, and like many Baylor fans before that time would cut off all their limbs to be 4-2. Like that just didn't happen. And still, I mean, post Art Briles era, it's not an automatic you're going to be 4-2 every year. But it just like there's just no energy around it, Spencer. There's no juice there for a team that's not only 4-2 but has a top 20 offense in America. Like there's just that doesn't have the excitement. So even in a point where you're coming back, it's your second 14-point fourth quarter comeback in the season. I don't know that anybody else has done that in America. And there was almost nobody there to watch by the end of the game against Kansas State. So it just all comes down to the juice, and this defense stinks, and that's Dave Aranda's specialty. Like, not only was he banned the use of the term DG on my show, but let's say defensively minded guy coming into the job. That's what he was supposed to be. He was one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. And then last year he takes over play calling duties himself, and the defense just gets worse. It's so bad when you look at the metrics. 107th in points per game allowed, 113th in rushing yards per game allowed, 128th in rushing first downs allowed per game, Spencer. They allow 11 first downs on the ground every game. Think about that. 11 every game. That's a lot, man.
It seems like a lot, seeing as how a team in a game typically has, 15 to 20 first downs or so?
Roughly. Yeah.
Over half of them are gained running the football. That's not good.
Yeah, it's not great.
No.
So because of that, there is this negative energy, I guess. And look, I'm there too, man. Like I've set an ultimatum. If this team doesn't win 9 games, I'm back out on Dave Aranda. Like I've said that myself. But yeah, it feels like the life is being sucked out of you, even when they have somewhat major win. Like Kansas State is not the Kansas State we thought they were going to be, but a major win of coming back from 14 down in the fourth quarter to win, like that's a big deal. It just hasn't felt that way. There's always feeling like there's something missing here, and it always, I think, in a lot of minds of a lot of Baylor fans, and certainly in my mind a lot of times too, it comes back down to the head coach.
Yeah, and it's just strange. I don't know that there's a comparison for Baylor nationally right now. I really don't.
Probably not. Yeah.
You know, you think about the team they lost to in week 1, Auburn. Hugh Freeze has got legitimate pressure to win the rest of the season, and justifiably so. But the results the last couple of weeks have been bad for Auburn. And for Baylor, it's not. So 1 to 10, 10 being I would bet this month's salary that he'll no longer be the head coach. Where is Dave Aranda's hot seat right now?
Honestly, it's like a 3, which is surprising.
That's bizarre.
When you have the pulse of the fan base, it's very surprising. But I just don't think this administration's going to move on unless it gets catastrophic. Spencer, 2 years ago, in year 4 of Dave Aranda, they were 3-9. They were horrible. They were one of the worst teams in all of the Power 4. And he didn't get fired then. And they have, like, again, you look at the numbers, man. They've won 10 of the last 13 games. You know, there's still some positive momentum. It's then becoming they're not as good as they should be, mainly because of Dave Aranda's main focus in the game of football is what's holding them back. And then that doesn't get a coach fired at Baylor, I don't think. And you look at their schedule in the Big 12, and it's an ultra competitive conference, but with that offense they have, they still have every opportunity in the world to be 8-4. Back-to-back 8-4 coaches don't get fired. So it might not even be the right move, but I don't think he gets fired. I don't. I think it's a very low chance. But who knows? Maybe he'll just want to rekindle that UCLA.
Would 6-6 cause him to pull the plug? Like missing a bowl game at this point certainly would, right? Because that means you're going.
For sure.
What would that be? 2-6 down the stretch. But I think Baylor is too good to do that. But you and I talked about him coming into the season, and I'm typically pretty down on teams that start slow and then they figured it out. Again, Florida was that team. Everyone's like, they figured it out at the end of the year. I'm like, I don't know. Does the start of the year not count? Baylor was what 1-3 last year.
2-4.
2-4. 2-4. Won 6 in a row down the stretch. And I'm like, well, 6 in a row is great. That's a reason to not fire the coach. But to feel like they're a conference title contender is I don't know, because I struggle to trust what the coaching staff is going to put on the field, because they were the architects of the 2-4 start. Like that was a thing that happened. Well, once they made the change to Sawyer Robertson. Well, now that I've seen DeQuan Finn and Sawyer Robertson, Cam, how in the world was Sawyer Robertson ever not the starting quarterback? It's just one of those things that I don't know that you can really put a fine point on or explain, which is kind of the summary of this entire segment so far.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Like that's, I mean, you make a great point. Like we saw it the year before too, with Neil Brown at West Virginia.
Yes.
Right. He goes 9-4 and all of a sudden it's all good, man. Job saved. And then the next year it's 5-7 or 6-6 and he's done. He's canned. And I remember saying that after last year and hand up, like I was very excited about this year. I had some really high expectations. That's what it kind of comes down to for me. But I did remember saying, like, be wary. Like we just saw this with Neil Brown. It might not always end well. Like it's not just like sunshine and rainbows now. But the thing that I pointed out again with the second time this year, they've had a 14-point fourth quarter comeback. Like maybe this is just the cynic in me, but I'm like, that to me almost reflects poorly on the coaching staff, because we see a top 20 offense. We know they've got NFL guys and Sawyer and Josh Cameron and Michael Trigg and potentially Bryson Washington down the line. Like they've got NFL guys on this roster. It's on one side of the ball, but there's a ton of talent there. And to me, that's like, okay, they have enough talent and enough fight to come back in these games, but they don't have the game plan to get ahead in these games. Like they're down again. It was SMU was the other one. And they were down all night to Auburn, and they were fighting back all night against Arizona State. And, they made that second game close, that Arizona State game close, but that's like kind of fitting the definition of players win games, coaches lose them. You've heard that adage all the time. Like that is kind of what it feels like to me. It's like, can we not fall down 14 in the fourth quarter? Can we have a better game plan week to week? Answer's been no. It just doesn't help when the guy, like I use Dave Aranda sound bites like almost every day on the show, and I screen record at full volume, and still you can't hear him coming out through the speakers, man. Like that doesn't help when that's your personality and fans are still trying to figure out what you do well halfway through the season in year 6.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm a Pacific Northwest guy. I'm a big Seattle Seahawks fan. Pete Carroll, for the last 5 years of his Seahawks tenure, wasn't actually a great coach. The defense was faltering. There was just kind of a magical element, and my experience is going to help me win these close games. But are we building a great football team? No. Are we building a good one? Yes. Are we going anywhere? Probably not. We might get into the playoffs. If we do, we're not winning more than one game, if that. And we have a lot of magical comebacks in the fourth quarter. And you know what the Seahawks eventually said after, I think a winning season, if I remember correctly? Yeah, we're going to go in a different direction. And they've got a better coach now in Mike McDonald. Like, I wonder if Baylor...
Can I give you another one? Can I give you a college one?
Yeah.
And it looks better now, 4 years later. It was kind of in limbo there for a bit. But in 2021, Texas Tech fired Matt Wells when they were 5-3.
Hey, there you go.
And I think part of it was they were seeing what's coming up on the horizon and they needed a different kind of coach, but they were also just like, this isn't us. Like, we're not 5-3. Like, we're not gonna win 8 or 9 games this year, and the recruiting's not going well. Like, we don't have something sustainable here. And they went and they took a big plunge to get Joey McGuire, who had never been even a coordinator in college football. He was a high
going
school
pretty
coach,
well.
and it's going pretty well.
Going.
The money helps too.
Yeah,
but
it does.
It is going well. He's gotten these guys, and they look like one of the very best teams in the country. So it is going well.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. And the other side of the coin, and I'll close today's show with this, is if you move on from Dave Aranda, you risk the Florida situation with Billy Napier. Was Dan Mullen losing games? No. He just wasn't winning at the level that you wanted it to. And then what happened? You said, we have a higher standard, and now you are worse and have been worse since he got there. And I think they're going to fall to 2-4 come Saturday. So one of the more unique situations in all of college football, presented by Cam Stuart of Locked On Baylor. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.